here.
I think it's been about 10 years since I got my ears checked.
Yeah.
I think I got it checked when I was last in grade 8. The school thought I was deaf for some reason, so they told my mom to get my ears checked, and I was perfectly fine.
They were like, James,
What?
James, and he's just looking at his phone the whole time.
No, because I had a speech impediment kind of thing. So then they were like, "Oh, it might be because like he can't hear that well, some noises." So get his ears checked, and I did. And
It's just because you have like a voice that really travels, and it's just like
I think it's like
James.
kind of genetics because I know my like
James.
older brother was kind of like that.
James.
yeah.
So
I think James is dead. We good. Alrighty.
But how do you are you guys familiarize anything with
Yeah.
like what do you mean? Yeah.
We get it every time, Steve.
he's familiarized with everything. He knows everything.
Yeah.
Don't you
I was gonna
understand?
say like international laws and shit like that because basically if you do shit like that out in the abyss, because isn't there like places like in the fucking Mediterranean Sea and shit like that you do like whatever the fuck you want just because it's like
International waters.
yeah, it's like international waters.
I don't think that's really how it works, but it's not like
he can't just murder people.
the
in
pirate
international-
life is the life for me. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. Alrighty. So long time no see. How have you boys been? Excellent.
You see,
Excellent
Steve.
opening.
Normally it goes to you and then me. It doesn't go to me then you. Okay, you're the co-host. You
Yeah,
talk
I said
first,
boys.
and then I'm the guest. So
James
it goes
is in the
you.
title, and he's like, "I'm not the co-host."
Well, I've been gone for like a month. It felt like.
Yeah,
you've been
neither.
gone.
None of us have.
Yeah, you've been gone for quite a while.
We used up all of our reserve episodes.
Yeah, by popular demand by absolutely no one, I am back.
You were only out for 2 episodes, and that was one day.
Yeah,
That's all right.
by popular demand, I am back. No one would complain about it. Our ratings actually went up since I've been gone, but
Did they actually go up or did we just like stagged it off?
No, I have no idea. I'm pretty sure they went down.
you see,
People's choice. Jimmy. Alrighty.
I am the hot one. So
Welcome to another episode of Hotline Hangout. My name is Shane, and today I'm joined by my buddy, my pal, Stephen Murphy.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Steven. And the crowd goes mild.
boo.
We're also
boo.
joined today by Papa James,
I am back from the death.
Jimmy Johns, back from the dead.
Yeah.
Well, it was Easter recently.
What? Completely fucked me up.
Anyways, so long time, no talk. Lots of news, lots to talk about. Let's just jump right into it, boys. You guys like old CRT TVs?
Yes, that's how I played my Nintendo GameCube. So,
Oh, really? Seriously?
yeah, you get better like latency on it.
Of course. Did you watch the last episode? We were talking about how like James is like 10-year-old mentality,
Oh, yeah.
always has some relation.
There you go, exhibit A.
Whatever, and it's like, criminal act occurring. Well, this is actually what I do at home. Steve, why don't you tell us about CRT TVs?
They're fantastic. I don't
Have you
know,
ever just like come home after work one day and had a CRT TV just randomly left on your house?
Twice. It happened twice.
Really? What'd you do with them?
Put them install them inside my house and start playing some old
GameCube?
Super NES.
Gave one to James?
No, it's so funny too because like I've had like one of those old school like CRTVs like way back when, and like I carried that up into like maybe like the early 2000s. I loved it. Like it did everything that I needed it to do, and like you were talking about like the latency when you're actually doing like retro gaming and stuff like that. It just
Oh, yeah,
looks
it's instant.
better because if you try to like obviously like hook one of the older consoles up to like a new like flat TV or like a 4K, like it just shrinks it. It just doesn't look right. And a lot of retro gamers, that's kind of the preferred method.
I remember my first flat screen TV. So my CRT TV was a 32-inch big boy TV, and it was like on top of my dresser in my bedroom. And I went and bought a flat screen, like 16:9 widescreen TV, and it was too big and too bright, and I went and returned it. I'm like, no, we're gonna keep this one. So like that was my first TV. I just got rid of it, basically.
That's hilarious. So where's our first story coming from? Virginia?
Henrico County.
Oh my God. So yeah,
Man,
so
this is wild.
So basically, I don't know what they were referring him to as like the TV Santa Claus. Is I guess one of the interviewers said. Like it sounds so cheesy, but like he went out of his way to kind of dress up for the aesthetics. So for those who don't know, he's actually walking around hand shipping, delivering these CRTV like televisions. They're about like 13-inch, 20-inch TVs.
Yeah, they're just like a random assortment of CRT TVs, like probably whatever you can get your hand on.
Exactly, because like the videos that I was watching, it's literally just the TVs alone. Like there's no power cables or anything like that with it, so it's just like an empty block he's dropping off.
Copper. Well, that's what happens, right? Like you put one of those TVs in your backyard, and people will come around, steal all the metal out of it, and then just leave it in pieces, like in your backyard. That happened to me one time.
Really, just like the shell of the TV of what it was.
Well, it wasn't like a shell. Like most of the TV isn't valuable, but they want the metals in it. So like this one time, I went in my backyard, and I actually saw the people doing it, and I was like, I yelled at him. I was like, "Hey, like get out of my backyard! Like if you're gonna take it all, and like go throw it out somewhere. Like don't just crumble it up in my backyard and like leave a mess for me to clean up. Like come on."
That's so funny. So this individual is walking around dropping these CRTV televisions off at like people's doorsteps.
He's just putting them on people's porches.
But like that's the whole thing. Like the whole gimmick of it too is like he's wearing one on the top of his head.
They're not 13 and like those are big boys.
Well, yeah. Like they're
watching like the news article here, and the police actually had to. They took like a storage van and they just were riding around the neighborhoods loading them up. Like everybody got one.
Apparently it happened last year too, but in like a different area in that same town.
Really? So this is an ongoing event that's
it stopped for like 6 months.
Christmas.
Like I saw like I think in the news article it says something like it happened like 6 months ago and it like randomly stopped, but then now it's happening again.
That's so creepy too. Like the guy wears like the helmet.
Different neighborhood.
Well, I was gonna say he had to like resupply back on like inventory.
Probably.
Yeah, but yeah, these are some pretty decent sized ones. Like it's a range between like 13
There's
to like
cables on them,
25.
everything. I wonder if they work.
Really?
Because that's creepy as hell. Imagine you're just like up for a glass of water, up to pee in the middle of the night, and you go look out the window, and there's just some dude standing there with a TV on his head.
That's definitely how a horror movie starts.
That would freak me out.
And it's like
probably scream like a little
one day
girl.
someone's gonna be dead in their bed with a TV like as their head. It's a
funny.
CRTV.
Oh,
well,
boy.
I was gonna say like it's not even like so much of like just the TV aesthetics that he's wearing on top of his head as like a mask. I think it's like the jumpsuit, the gloves, and like the boots that make the whole like a apparel for it, which is it's wild as hell if you just like look at it. Like,
I think it's just a prank. Some college students who are just bored. College students can't afford TVs like that.
but like to have
engineering
such
student.
I was gonna say to have such like a assortment and inventory of
How
all
much
these
time do you
televisions.
have to have to like just be like, oh, I want to go out at night and just give random people TVs? Like,
But
it's not that fun. Like
That's honestly though, I think it's hilarious. Like if there's like no malicious intent behind it, like that is such a funny prank.
well, because like indirectly, because
like nobody like individually, you kind of just wake up and you're like, huh, there's a TV on my porch, and it's like whatever, toss it in the garbage, do something with it, whatever you want to do, right? But like when you find out that like 100 other people also have a TV on your porch, that's where the funny is. Because like if I found a TV on my porch, I wouldn't think anything, right? I'd just be like,
Well, you like live in an apartment too, so you would just think it's one of your neighbors and not care.
Yeah, but like even if I lived in a house, if I saw a TV on my porch, I just that wasn't there yesterday. I'd think somebody else's. I probably wouldn't even ask about it.
And just leave it until another one stacks on top of it.
Yeah.
But like the main question here is like nobody seems to be asking like where is he getting like his inventory? It's not like supply and demand type situation. Like
I think
he has to
pretty
be
easy
going
to
out.
find. Like there's got to be like a place where you can get them from, or like something like that, or like they probably don't sell for very much.
Or maybe like there's like a Best Buy that has like a recycling center, and he goes there and picks like a.
Oh my god, maybe
but
he works
again,
at a recycling.
Maybe then, but like I was gonna say, wouldn't that necessarily be easier to track someone down such as that? Like if someone's just going around buying, let's say going hit up like the local pawn shops or secondhand stores and just buying these like CRTVs by like the dozens, wouldn't you think that'd be kind of draw flags, especially to now that it's gained some traction of popularity? So I don't know, would that be just like now an easy way to figure out who's behind it, who's doing it?
Well,
just,
yeah, but these are so hard to track too. Like you can't just track these. Like he's got to be getting them somewhere.
But
yeah, like and that's it. Like I'm a pawn shop owner and be like, oh, I see this guy. I'm like, oh, it's probably that guy. It's like, I'm not gonna call the cops. Like I don't care.
Yeah. Well, like my whole main reason, it's not like they're trying to track him down or anything by like you'll go looking at like the serial numbers or anything crazy like that. It's just like we know who's doing it, but at the end of the day, no one's just kind of living up to say like, oh yeah, it was this guy. He literally just came in the other day and bought like 13 of these TVs from like this location.
Maybe he was wearing the
Maybe it's college
CRTV.
students.
It's
There's
like
like a
draw some
class.
attention, and then just like somebody goes out like buy one here, and just like they tally it up and split up their. I guess.
No, the guy was wearing his mask, the TV on his head, so they couldn't tell.
Yeah,
Like, okay.
he walks into the pawn shop with the TV on his head, and he's like, "Hey, I'd like to buy a TV."
I don't know, man. Like it would just be really terrifying. Like Shane was saying, if you actually just woke up in the middle of the night, just went to go get like a glass of water, and you're just like looking out, and you just see like this big like TV thing looking at you back, and just like you gotta like lock eyes, and just kind of like.
How do you lock eyes with a TV?
Whatever, indirectly.
According to the Henrico police, the only real crime committed here was illegal dumping.
Yeah, that's
Kind of crazy. I love how the police got involved and like found or rented a U-Haul essentially and like loaded all the TVs up. Like that's how many there were.
Yeah.
I don't think there's like an exact number in here, but I'm thinking like at least 100.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy too, because like you wake up with this TV on your porch, and like not everybody has a security system. A lot of people do, but like you wake up and like just some dude. And, like where did they come from? Because this was all done in like a short period of time, right?
Yeah.
Because like you wouldn't want to do this over days. You'd want to do this over like one night. But like what is he driving around in? Like there's got to be some kind of indicator of like the vehicle. There's got to be some angle or like there's got to be some security camera footage of like across the street or something. You can see him riding around and he's driving a truck.
Well, depending on like the community itself, like you were saying, like if there's like surveillance cameras like posted on the actual like light posts and stuff like that. Same ideally with all these like in-house surveillance cameras. I wonder how many of them they actually got. I want someone to make like a montage of like back-to-back sequence of all those like videos put together. Which
you know what? They probably couldn't get him because he's probably running around on the roof. The TVs ended up on the porch because they don't fit down the chimney.
Because one thing too, I want to know if it's just like the same person for each individual like location. Because they didn't say how many like TVs he dropped off, but enough to kind of cause concern. If it's just like there's let's say a group of 4 kids wearing the exact same thing and just hitting up different locations just to kind of cover their spread of the area to make it drop it off a little bit faster. Or is it just one individual person who's literally just like running back and forth?
I don't know.
It looks like one guy because like there was
We'll never
few
know.
videos and it always looked like the same
Guy, yeah,
the same height
and everything, like same build. Maybe
We'll never know.
it's so funny too because like that type of situation too remind me of I don't know if you guys seen it before where this guy he got caught kind of like making out with like a doorbell, and the only reason why these individuals were able to catch him is because they caught him on like their surveillance camera system. He was like literally looking right at the door and like he's like licking the button and everything. I think this happened like
Doorbells are hot.
Yeah, it happened maybe like 5-6 months ago or something like that.
Oh man, that's so weird.
I have a confession to make, guys.
Oh my god.
Was
that you?
While I was gone,
That was James.
But
I put a TV on my head. Decided to give people TVs as Santa Claus,
he has the same build as you. I can see it.
Have you ever seen a TV that watched you? Anyway, speaking of illegal things that are actually illegal, you guys hear about the bank account hack from space?
Oh yeah, the astronaut space. All right, I don't know.
Imagine getting like a message from space like, "Hello, I am a space prince and I would like your money."
Well, because this article itself, it was basically coming from by the astronaut of Anne McLean. Basically, a young, long divorce. Like she's in the process of divorcing her husband, and that's kind of where it all comes from there. Which she was actually checking like she was checking his bank statements at the end of the day.
Really?
And and so he was going through the reports and everything too. And so I think he got a notification from his bank saying like, "Hey, we have like an unauthorized account accessing your bank information." Just like checking. She wasn't necessarily moving money around, but just literally observing just to see what all statements and everything were happening from it.
Looking for strip club receipts.
It was so funny too, just because it was even flagged like NASA. So
seriously,
yeah, it was like flagged under like NASA's like IP or whatever from like the actual station or craft that she was actually in. And so it really got me thinking of is there kind of like law and expectations that you can necessarily get away with when you're like in?
Yeah, how would that? Well, you'd just get like arrested when he came back or something.
What? Like,
Well, I don't think it was illegal either necessarily
yeah, 'cause
because like
he,
unless like you were like moving money around or something.
Yeah, because like she didn't touch it. She was basically just there viewing. Like, of course, NASA refused to give any type of statement at all what was happening on with it, and they're giving it like the actual astronaut the benefit of the doubt. But from what she was saying was that she was only verifying her husband's account. I guess she said it was a shared account at one point, but all the information's still exactly the same. Like nothing was changed. So obviously, if there was that big of a controversy, he would have changed all passwords, would have changed everything so she wouldn't have access. That would just be, common sense. So she logged in with like her normal account and everything too, verifying. She was just claiming that she was verifying that he would still have the appropriate amount of money inside of his accounts to pay bills and attend to their children as well. That was like basically her statement and everything too with it. But I guess he's pressing charges for her kind of like wiretapping or hacking into his account. So
her husband was like, "Oh, I'm shocked and appalled that she thinks she can get away with that." And it's like, I don't know, man. Like if you have a shared account or previously shared account, like just and you're going through a divorce, like change your password.
But yeah, I was gonna say like wouldn't that necessarily follow on the person too? That at that point, it's like you knew she has all this information, and why won't you just change it? It's not like she called in the bank from space and be like, "Hey, I need access for this."
Hello, this is outer space.
But the funny thing is just like how everything showed up legitimately, because obviously they can tell where it's coming. It's like what Google has is like, oh, I see someone trying to access your device from like this IP, this
From
location,
space.
and it was just from
that's
NASA.
just so funny. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was basically her keeping tabs at this point. But like I said, the main thing here is can they prosecute and push anything for like legal purposes? Because like space, you have no like entitlement.
Legal.
You probably have like a contract or something.
Oh, that you can't do anything like malicious or
like let's say like I'm going off the United States. It's probably like the United States laws, I would imagine.
oh maybe.
Wait, are you talking about from space? Yeah, like if you're a citizen
Yeah,
of the United States and you took off from the United States, then they're gonna charge you under United States law.
But then they start like
Or like I don't know, like
Steve, it's just like delayed. Like you don't just like go to jail right when you do
or
something
like
bad.
maybe like
You get a trial date or whatever. You get like
or like the
court
UN
dates.
or something. Like you go under UN laws or something.
No,
like that.
it would be the U.S. law, especially if the crime was committed against the U.S. citizen and you're like it's your U.S. Like
Well, I was
the
gonna say-
space station too is like considered like
oh,
part
it's
of,
like U.S. territory or whatnot.
well, it's not even U.S. territory, but like you would just be convicted under U.S. law. Like if the crime was committed in the United States, then that's where you're getting prosecuted.
Like what about those concepts too, where it's like America and like Russia have kind of like a committed contract, basically that they're not allowed to build like international space weapons and stuff like that. Like, did you ever hear about that?
well, that's a little different, and it's not about the space station and committing crimes.
I guess because like it's like another thing that raises questions is like what I was talking about prior to like international waters, because like ideally there's like you could do in a sense whatever you want now that you're in actually like international waters. It's not to the point of like mass murders or anything like that, but you can it's illegal for you to like drink alcohol and stuff like that. But when you get past these like international waters, you can kind of
You don't become like
it's not like you're intouchable, but there's no law or persecution that can necessarily tame until you come back over.
there is though, like there's no judge that would be like, well, where was the crime committed, and then they'd be like space, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, never mind, we don't have laws pertaining to this. So it's like, no, they
like, oh,
hacked
you're
into
safe.
my account. Yeah.
These are uncharted.
He's like, let me get my alien judge friend.
These are uncharted territories. I'm sorry. Just like the Christopher Columbus days.
Oh my god. The more we get into these stories, the more I'm just like diving into how Steve's mind works.
The more that you hate Steve, I understand. I have the same feeling.
Yeah.
Now that you can defend yourself, huh?
Oh my god. Yeah. That's kind of strange though. Like I've never really had like a shared account or anything like that with anybody, but like people have had my passwords and stuff like that to like grab coffee or whatever, like stuff like that. Like you're not even supposed to like share that much.
Yeah.
So I don't know, eventually at some point it would be like your fault, right? Because like you gave that password or didn't change it or shared it when you shouldn't have. Because like even in the bank's like terms of service, it's like you do not share this with anybody. Like this is yours. If you share it with somebody and something happens, in Canada we have the CDIC. Deposit Insurance Corporation or something like that. So they insure all of our money up to like a certain amount in case of something like that. But like, I'm sure that somebody would fight against you to say like, hey, you gave them the password. Like they stole the money from you and you did it. So then you'd have to like go directly after that person instead of the bank or anything. And that seems kind of like what they're doing here. And like, it's also like during a divorce too. So you'd think that like the circumstances were kind of like, well, maybe that person is just trying to get back at them or retaliate or anything like that.
Well, I think what her main concern is probably like two concerns is like she was probably saying like the truth that she wanted to make sure that there was still enough an equivalent amount of money inside his account to justify that he has enough to pay the bills, he has enough to look after their children, and also to just to see what he's spending his finances on as well. So if she sees
because like if he's like trying to drain the accounts,
or you know that he's doing going to these restaurants that she can kind of see. She's like, okay, why is he going to these restaurants? Like, kind of just to see what he's up to kind of not so much be malicious, but just to kind of be fill in that curiosity.
Yeah, I get it.
Because you're still going through the divorce, but obviously she probably still cares for the guy and vice versa. But she doesn't want him to see him fooling around with another girl while he's supposed to be watching the kids and etc. So it just has that little bit of a.
Oh, that makes sense. To be honest though, like if she didn't touch anything, if she was just looking and like whatever, then the guy needs to change his password and not make a big deal about it. Like if nothing bad happened, then just change your password. Dude.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's potentially looking to press charges and everything to her, but like he at the end of the day, she didn't really do much. She was claimed that she had a kind of a non-malicious intent to actually secure and make sure
oh my god
for the well-being of everybody else, but I don't know.
Is this the plot for the new Star Wars?
What's the name of the new Star Wars movie? Do you know that?
Episode 9.
Oh my god. Just episode 9. Can you imagine? That'd be pretty funny.
Ooh. I wonder if they're like doing construction in the basement again. But yeah. Oh man, these stories are dark today. We'll end on a good note though.
Oh, okay. Yes, we will.
What's the next one? Speaking of space,
space
in flat earther news. Oh man, I can't believe we're even going to talk about this.
Oh, flat earth.
The Otago Daily Times article.
Oh my god, yeah. So we've all, in a sense, been there. I can guarantee.
Oh my god, this came. Oh, never mind. I was like, this. The date on this says September 1st, 2019, and I'm like, oh man, are we in the future? What?
I was gonna say, because in a sense, we've all necessarily been there, where you kind of make like a stupid judgment bet with your friends, like oh, I bet you can't do this. Oh, I bet you can't do that. Put money on it. Money talks. So at this point in time, these two friends, I guess they're from like high school, elementary. They were friends ever since until like their adulthood. They were kind of just like reminiscing and talking about the scientific factors of flat Earth and is it real or is it not. So his friend kind of came up with the idea that, oh, I'll bet you $10,000 that the Earth is flat. And the other kid's like, all right, pay me. And then so they kind of took it from there. But from the article, it was necessarily talking about, it wasn't going in depth of saying what they were trying to do to prove each other wrong. It was just kind of like a stupid bet saying like, I'll bet you this, a miscellaneous amount. So this guy took it a little bit too far and was insinuating that his friend now owes him $10,000 for the bet.
Plus tip.
Plus tip.
Did you see what he said too? So they thought it was just a joke bet or whatever, but then the one guy took it seriously and he's like, if you don't pay, I'm going to get a crossbow and I'm going to shoot you and your father and put you in the trunk and nobody will ever see you again.
Yeah, so...
That's wild.
What was this guy's name? Jamie Matthew Sutherland, age 36.
Oh boy.
So yeah, apparently
the conviction of some people.
What the hell is a car
And they're so
groomer?
wrong.
Is that just kind of like a car cleaner or whatnot?
A what?
Like they basically state his occupation, that he's a car groomer.
Oh yeah, so, probably like
what's a car groomer?
That's maybe just like
they groom the car.
Interior.
Probably works at a car wash.
Yeah, it's just like a sense like a interior.
Man, it's crazy. I actually used to work at a car wash when I was like a teenager.
Yeah.
And my job title, according to the workplace or whatever, was car wash technician.
Oh.
You put technician on the end of anything. Toilet technician.
That's funny.
AKA just plumber.
Oh, yes, just like the what's the name of those unnecessary. I can't even enunciate it. Basically, just like false entitlements at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like random titles that people kind of give themselves to make them feel
podcast engineer.
There you go.
That's what I am.
But yeah. So he was talking to his friend Louis Lunds, which then Matthew, in a sense, was kind of, or Jamie, sorry, Matthew's his last name, or Matthew Sutherland, threatened his friend because he now then wanted this $10,000 that they fictitiously bet on. And I think that Mr. Lunds himself was a tennis instructor, which...
Oh my God.
The more and more you dive into it, it's not helping their cause at all. So it just sounds like two stoner burnout kids just like arguing over a patch of a bag of like Sour Patch Kids or something. Like, dude, give me those are mine. But I don't know, like...
That's
what do you
like
get from that? Like,
just like pretty wild. Like what?
like it,
Just like the people are so like righteous,
yeah.
and like you don't. They're just so wrong.
Like it gets to the point where then Jamie gets so frustrated that he's like so indwelled that he wants his money that he starts threatening his friend plus his father with a crossbow. Says he's going to shoot him if you don't pay up. But then you don't have so much of like, I don't want to say like, oh, flat Earth is real or anything like that, but you don't have the proof to kind of suggest to change his mind that the Earth is round in this case. This is the only thing that was popping up here. Is like, if you're going to have an argument, have some sort of evidence based upon it. Like, I'm sure you could just go to NASA's website and be like, I have all of this stuff. Here you go. I'm going to make you a believer. But he didn't even take the time to kind of try and convince him. That's like my main point of like,
yeah, there was like,
where it was-
well, maybe there was some kind of like discussion or anything
and
like
it just
that.
wasn't stated.
Yeah, like the article probably doesn't go into detail about the argument.
Yeah.
But like, the whole like flat Earth debate and the anti-vaxxer movement and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like it's so strange that like people are so like passionate about these things like kind of suddenly or like randomly. Like 20 years ago, like maybe it's because I was young, but like you didn't really hear about stuff like this. But then now it's like just so common. Like there are like there's this whole group of people who are just like, oh yeah, the Earth is flat and vaccinations are bad and whatever. And then like
I think that the social media can like let them have a voice that people will hear.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I
that you at
think
least
people
hear
are
it.
trolling at first though, right? Like you know how
Yeah.
many people like 4chan got to put their phones in water to like charge the battery or something like
Oh,
that. Or
yeah,
like
put it in the
dip your phone
microwave,
in water and then put it in the microwave, and people
Yeah.
are like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to quick charge your phone. Meanwhile, people's phones are just exploding and whatever. And like people do this stuff. At least with like the flat earther movement, though, like and I'm not like researched into this or anything, but I don't really think it's like causing too much harm as like the anti-vaxxer movement
Yeah.
or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Like stupid people are going to be stupid, but at least they're. Well, I can't even say they're not hurting anybody with this because this guy's trying to shoot people with a crossbow.
I think the terminology you're looking for is collectively contained.
Oh, collectively contained.
That's what came to my mind.
We need to
when
do
were
some
talking about
percussive maintenance to these people. I think I don't know.
it. Percussive maintenance and then the ass.
Just like smack him in the head and be like, "What are you doing?"
Do they still have their sign posted? Loud noises in the basement.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Can't do anything.
but yeah, I don't know. 10 grand is like a decent amount of money or whatever.
Yeah, but
like
definitely-
not enough to shoot somebody. Plus, like you kill somebody with a damn crossbow,
Yeah.
you're going to jail. Like, what's the point? You're not going to get your 10 grand anyways.
Yeah. Like you got.
If I shoot him with a gun, do I still go to jail, or is that only crossbow I go to jail?
Well, if it was a gun, you could say self-defense.
Ooh.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah.
What was that like quote in Rush Hour? It's like, I'm gonna shoot you and say you fell in the kitchen.
Jamali. Jamal.
But I don't know, man. Like it's so funny too, just because it seems so innocent, but like this kid just took it like way too far. I can't even say kid. This adult took it
36
way
years
too
old.
far.
Yeah, god damn.
I don't know. Like it makes me speechless because like I get it. You clean cars for a living, and the other one's a tennis instructor. How do they have $10,000 freely just kind of thrown about? Like
yeah.
that's
How much does the tennis instructor make?
they probably next to nothing. They probably like charge maybe like $5 an hour or something.
No, you're probably charging like 20, 25.
Well, yeah, but I was gonna say like unless like you're so good and like you actually got like some sort of like celebrity clientele, then you charge them whatever. the
Well,
hell
If
you
you're in your
You're-
30s and you're a tennis instructor,
You're probably at like a country club or something. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that's what I would imagine.
Do you think they based upon?
it
tips
says
as well?
that the average wage of a tennis instructor is $29.70 per hour.
Seems about right.
Experience has a moderate effect on the salary for this job. That's actually kind of funny because like you ever go to like the gym and there's like personal trainers there and like the personal trainers are not fit at all, but they're like personal training and like I think it's like more of a you push people, you
Yeah.
give them the plan or whatever, but you don't have to follow that plan.
Yeah.
I don't think you can discriminate either, but like if I mean the employer doesn't have to discriminate, but if I'm like gonna pop down $600 a month or however much a personal trainer costs, if I'm gonna pop that money down, I want somebody who's jacked
Yeah.
telling
Well,
me
'cause
how
I was gonna say
get jacked.
appearance it does quite help out with that type of profession as well. Because like ideally, like I seen numerous of like let's look at the health industry here, like in Canada. Like you look at like the nurses and everything too. They're there to kind of promote health, but like
So many smokers.
you have your smokers, you have your overweight, you have. Are we allowed to say like obesity now, or are they trying to change the topic to overweight now, I think, to be a little bit more sensitive. But like ideally, you have bigger, broader people in these type of health industry, just because obviously they're getting paid a little bit more than the normal person. You have a little bit more luxury, and I don't know. It's like it helps to kind of fit the part, you know.
It was kind of crazy back in the day when like anti-weed was like a thing.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, some of the teachers were such potheads.
Yeah, exactly. Like
So-
they're. It's not like teaching what you preach,
Kind
basically.
of having to like push a message that you don't necessarily believe in. But yeah, I don't know.
Money talks. You just want to do whatever you're going to do to get paid at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
that's legitimately it. Like you could pay me and I'll preach whatever you please.
Man, imagine
how
like
far I'm willing to sell
a
out.
job that just like paid a decent amount, but you didn't have to deal with customers or like necessarily other people.
See where you just get paid to sit there.
No, you just like do something
Just
else.
be face value. But yeah, like you're saying, like it's the same concept. I remember like on these talk show hosts and stuff like that, they bring in like this dietitian and like she's like easily weighing over like 3 bills.
Oh my
And then you're like, okay, you know, I understand, but you know, you're very intelligent, you're very smart, but why haven't you practiced, you know, what you're preaching at this point? Like maybe if you would be a little more aesthetically pleasing in the field, like, you know, I'm not saying like be just straight up trim down like 6-pack abs or anything like that, but you know, look decent for what the profession you're going to be into, then at that point you might have a little bit more of a following for your cause, which I guess, you know, at the end of the day, you got to look the part if you want to do it.
You know what I kind of. So how do flat earthers think like? So like, if you were a flat earther and you hopped on a plane and you flew directly around the world,
You mean straight in a straight line.
yeah, like how would you end up back at point A? Like, what is their explanation for this?
I don't know enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was gonna say like I don't know enough of like their logic.
I think that like their logic would be like, okay, we're going in a pin straight line, like we've got like this perfect heading here or whatever. But then they'd like get around to the next one and be like, well, we must have lost course. We went in a circle.
Well, I know for a fact that their website, they have like
Flatearth.com.
yeah, like thousands and thousands of like articles based upon answering these exact questions that, you know, you probably obviously have that. It's so like obscured that they obviously want to believe it because this is what they believe. But to us as like a foreign entity looking into their world, you're just like, wow, like how is this, like, are you okay?
Yeah, I think like Kyrie Irving's like the biggest like celebrity I know that's like a flat earther.
Oh yeah, then he came out like on Twitter or something like that, or
Yeah.
Instagram.
Oh my god.
And then I think he tried to recant on that statement though later when he's like, "Oh, I was only kidding" or something like that. Or is he actually still? I know somebody did that.
I have no idea. It was probably Kyrie Irving.
Yeah,
but
I
like,
think that was legitimately him.
he was like the biggest one that I remember.
That's wild, man. I feel like as a celebrity, you wouldn't want to come out with stuff like this because like you just don't want to get pumped into that.
Yeah.
Any spotlight is good spotlight.
I guess
Oh, yeah,
that
yes.
category. I guess. Well, I guess no wonder why Cleveland had to trade him to Boston. Like
Oh,
he's
boy.
yours. Deal with him.
Yeah. Well, the only earth he knows is a football field. So,
I mean basketball.
Basketball.
basketball field.
You're almost as bad as a flat earther, Shane. You're almost as bad.
Hey, basketball courts are flat too.
Another round.
That's too
Whatever.
funny.
Yeah. Did you look at the pictures of the next story, James?
Did I look at the pictures?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you got.
Oh, yeah, he showed it to
Yeah,
me,
I showed
yeah.
it. You got to thoroughly enjoy
So
this one.
picture this, James. Imagine your mom.
He's like, okay.
No, man. Well, this is wild. Like this like Asian family, the mother and son are like doing like this like romantic photo shoot almost.
Yeah.
But like the mom looks like she's like 20 years old. She looks younger than the son.
Is it only weird because he looks 20 years old?
Well, I think that.
I think it's weird because like she looks 20 years old. She looks like
Yeah.
she's his date.
Yeah.
But they're also like doing like coupley poses and stuff. Like very, very misleading. Like, you know, like when you see like a family or whatever and like the mom looks young or whatever. Like sometimes my grandma has been like misread as like my mom or whatever. You know, they
Okay,
say stuff
yeah.
like that or whatever. But like, you know, you'd never like mistake us for being like the
For
same
a
age
couple,
or whatever.
yeah.
And I think like if you mistake somebody for being the same age, that's one thing. But like sometimes it's just like flattery that they're like, oh, it looks like it could be your girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this is not flattery. It's like you guys going home and like knocking boots. Like they it looks legit. It looks like they're in a relationship. Like they're not like walking around separately or whatever. Like all these pictures of them, they're touching.
Yeah.
And like they look really happy. Like the one picture, the guy's kissing his mother on the forehead, which is like totally an innocent thing to do for like a mother or whatever. But I think that like the shock value of like the age thing is like something that they're using to pursue like the story or whatever. It's on the Daily Mail, so like whatever.
Well, I was gonna say, so basically what we're kind of getting at here, it's a Vietnamese man named Jonathan Nguyen. From Los Angeles, has a little bit of a following on his Instagram and like whatever social media plugs, which he's always like posting these pictures of him and his mother. It's not so much that it's like they're being suggestive or anything like that, or it's just that what was it? it's like the photos that they're actually posting, like they're very cuddly in a sense, like a normal like long-term based couple would be doing. They're doing these like little glamour shots and everything with each other, and like they're holding each other from like the waist and everything. Like it's very subjective in a sense that
very proud of her son.
You can definitely get the wrong idea of where they're coming at. Like he's 22, I think she's like in her 40s. She was like talking about recently on like the Daily Mail of like I have the keto diet to kind of thank for like my flawless appeal and everything too. Of,
I think it says like, how do you stay so young? She said exercise daily, keto diet, eat lots of fruit, avoid processed foods.
I feel big part of it's genetics.
Oh
it's
those Asian genetics.
Man, she's in her 40s though. Imagine this kid's friends. Like he's 22, right? So he's like, late university age. Yeah. Imagine his friends. Hey, you want to go play games at your house?
Yeah, legit. Like the only reason,
Bobby, let's go to your house. Is your mom home?
Yeah.
What's your mom making for dinner? Let's have dinner with your mom. And eventually you get the home phone number and it's just like
it's over.
God, it's like that comic strip I saw where it's just like this progressive like age of an Asian woman. It's just like 20, she just looks the same. 30, she looks the same. 40, she looks the same.
Hi, Miss Nguyen, is Jonathan home? No, he's not. All right, I'm coming over.
Then it gets to like the 50, it's like menopause, and it's like age 60, like she's just like this like dwarf looking woman. And it's like, like the typical Asian grandma. And then it's just like 110. She's like still alive. And she's just like even smaller.
You know what's kind of crazy too? You look at these pictures of them with the, like in his childhood or whatever. And she actually looks better now. And like he was a kid. That he must be at least like half the age. So that was like 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. And she looks better currently than she did. At least from
it's the keto. That's
I was going to say she looked appropriate for what it was. Because in that picture, guarantee, like she's the epitome of the 90s. Like you have like the Rachel hair going on, you have the highlights, like the blonde highlight streaks. That's like legit in my mind. That's the epitome of the 90s. Like, I don't know, you were barely there, so I can't ask you, James.
James is almost in the 90s.
It's so funny because she almost looks like a girl that I kind of grew up with too, like way back when. But yeah, and then like definitely time was quite well to her. Like she does look very, very.
How old is she? How old does she say she is?
Basically in her 40s right now.
Oh, they just say in her 40s because like 40s. You still can't ask her age.
Yeah, because like you could be anywhere between 40 to like 67.
She's like an ageless person, and it's just like, still can't reveal their age. It's impolite to ask. Yeah,
so he's definitely getting attractions. He's getting over like 1,400 likes, over 7,000 comments on all the pictures that he's posting. I don't know, like it's weird to me, and like the even like stranger thought is just like how everyone's like always commenting like like on the adult websites like Pornhub and stuff like that, like incestual things is on an all-time high rise. It's like like son and mother,
stepmom or
sister,
stepsister,
brother, like that.
It's always got to be step. You can't incite.
It can't be the full blown.
You can't incite. What's that called?
Incestual
relationships. But if it's a step, doesn't matter.
It's fair game. It's not genetics or blood.
Yeah.
But man, like it's. It is what it is.
Well, I think it's funny too because, man, I totally just spaced and forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, so she's totally probably gonna retire on a career of MILF stuff. I I don't know, man, because like they're already doing this, right? Like, what's gonna stop them eventually? Like they're, people always take it too far, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, you think it's going to
Maybe
get to
it
the
is a
point where it's just
stepmom.
like it's going to like psychologically mess him up, and then he's just be like, yeah, I guess she kind of does look a little good.
Man, imagine that. You guys ever like when I was younger, like when I was a teenager, there were always like moms that like people would talk about, like, oh yeah, like so and so's mom's like hot or whatever, and like I don't know, man, I'd like hang out with this person, and it wouldn't really be my intention to like check out the mom or anything like that, but like they always ended up just being like normal moms, and I'm like, oh, like what the hell is everybody saying? Is it just like an agreement that you have to like make this person feel good or something, like or whatever? But yeah, I don't know, this mom is actually pretty hot, but
I don't know, like when I like think about like especially at that, I guess like at the like younger age, and I'm like looking at like a mother figure itself, like they all just look the same, like to me, like back in like the 90s.
She doesn't look like a mother figure,
just
though.
like
She looks my
like
age.
she looks like she's coming out on a date like with Jonathan.
Oh yeah.
So
like just I don't know, it's just like the glamour shots and everything too they got from it. But like I was saying, like back in the 90s, like if I think of like any mother itself, like of the time too, it's just like the same thing, their blue jean mom jeans going on, their whatever blouse they always like wear, and like their hair is just kind of all like frizzy or whatever. Like that's like my typical mother that I always think of, like the 90s, and like none of them ever really stood out. I'm just like, yeah, that's their mother. Okay. Like things,
your mother.
Things have changed quite dramatically.
Yeah. Oh, like yeah, it's just so strange because like you have like younger girls dressing to like look a little bit older now, and then you have like this mom just kind of totally blending in with those chicks.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? The world is a confusing place. Just keep your eyes forward, head straight, and just keep on.
The ones
keeping
that
on.
are weird to me are like the Instagram models who are like 16, who is like, meant to look like 20. I'm just like, man, you can't do that.
It's so strange too. Like the Instagram like influencers and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy because like those influencers it's almost like they're promoting like
they know what they're doing.
No, I don't think they are. Like I think like they are like attractive young girls, and they promote their body essentially until they get noticed by like a brand or something like that, and then it's like, oh, like you're really skinny, why don't you like sell people our detox tea or our detox teas or whatever. It's just like poop teas. And like they blast that out to their millions of subscribers or whatever. Like I don't know, they just like it's like they look older than they are. They're young, they're thin because they're young. Like once, especially like with women and like the hips and stuff like that, you kind of gain weight a little bit as you get older. It's like part of the physiology.
Like the metabolism.
Metabolism, like just aging in general. Like you start to kind of retain fat more, and like men and women do it a little bit differently, but it's still a thing. But like these girls are like 16, they're not even hit that yet.
Yeah.
And they're advertising to all these other girls that are potentially like insecure with themselves or already thin, but like, in their 20s or whatever. And it's just like promoting like body dysmorphia.
Well, because even at that point, then I guess you can necessarily be asking, it's like, since this is an ongoing trend, like this is like their thought process, this is what they think is okay and is like a suitable, just because obviously of their influences and followers and that who they follow, because this is a sense what they're promoting to them. So this whole like years and years of the years of them following, this is what they're psychologically now thinking, that this is what's okay and what's expected of them.
We just need like normal people to be influencers. Like, oh, you're a normal, like pretty attractive person, this, that, and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, well, you should be our brand person, our brand ambassador. But even James here in the Magic community is talking about how like the top Magic players now are just like influencers. They're like, socially, what's it called?
Okay, so
when you're socialized, like when you have like good social, it's not just like nerds reigning in the top now.
So the big thing about esports right now, so not even like just Magic, like Hearthstone, League of Legends, like anything like electronically, like video game stuff.
Yeah.
It's better to be a content creator, like kind of like what we're doing, than being a professional player. You'll make more money.
Sense. Yeah.
And you get invited to tournaments, you get sponsored by like the company, so it's better to be a content creator than a player.
I kind of see why though, right? Because like if you're a content creator, like besides this podcast, like I do other videos and stuff too, right? And like having that skill is kind of ridiculous, like to be really honest, because like some people just can't put content together. And I'm not saying like my content's the greatest or anything like that.
No,
but
we
like
are saying our content is the
no,
greatest.
my content, my individual content.
No,
Our content's the best, but Shane, we can work on. We'll get there.
Like
Shane.
being
Don't worry.
able to put out a like thought out video that like is like coherent and looks good is like kind of a difficult task. And like when you're good at like one thing, right? Like if you're good at playing Magic, if you can't combine that with another skill to like advertise and like promote the way that you do things or whatever, because like a lot of the cameras that I see on Magic tournaments and stuff, it's just like an overhead camera and stuff, and then like when the person's done, like that's it. You can only see those people at tournaments. But they want people with like
names,
like a social media kind of
influence.
Personality and like an influence, which like I totally get, but it kind of takes the fun out of the game a little bit when you have to like, when that's not your shtick.
Like
you're just a player, right?
Ultimately, I want to be like a professional Magic player, but part of it is like I probably want to stream. Like that's probably an easier route for me to become a professional Magic player than me like being good at Magic, which is that's weird to me. Like,
well, you need to, it's kind of like school and stuff, right? Like you learn.
It's better to know people than like actually
you learn like these skills or whatever, but if you can't put them to use on anything, right? Like if you know how to play Magic, that's one thing. Like if you're a really good Magic player, that's one thing. But like in order to kind of like put it to use, you need to combine it with some other skill. It seems like, or just esports in general. And that's why I think that usually with esports you have teams, because like usually the people on their own are not. Just like
normally, like the teams are like their own company and they just sponsor.
Yeah, but like the team has a face, right? So there's like some dynamism there. It's not like, well, like Ninja obviously is like one of the biggest esports people, but he's by himself pretty much, right?
Yes.
Not a lot of people are as like charismatic just by themselves as Ninja.
Yeah, he was on a team at one point, like 4 or 5 years ago, but.
Yeah, that's wild. Or like PewDiePie, right? Like just interesting people. Most people aren't like interesting by himself.
Well, PewDiePie, I would say, is not really like esports figure. Like maybe like now he's trying to move over. He's not really.
Well,
like,
no, he's just like using it as a.
He was like a game. He was like a game streamer at first. Like that's what he like did a big part of his career on. He started, and then he stopped doing that, and he started doing like meme stuff and just like general comedy. But now he's doing a lot of Minecraft stuff. Which, like, I don't really watch any of it because I'm not a big Minecraft person, but I see the appeal.
I think what he was trying to make is for his base argument is that he started off in a sense just like kind of by himself and not so much as like a team-based entity or performer.
Well, I don't think teams were big at that time. Like, I don't think there was any.
Well, yeah. Like,
it wasn't even a thing. Like, esports is new within the last 3 or 4 years.
I was gonna say like you had a group of friends
5.
and then you kind of made your own tags because like. Teams and tags and stuff like that kind of just to me that it seemed like it all came out when the Call of Duty stuff started happening, and then you're like, okay, we're going to start teaming up. Obviously, Counter-Strike and everything too would also had that as well. But
Halo's what took it off. Halo
is it Halo? Yeah, because that kind of like Counter-Strike-ish and like the Call of Duties and stuff like that's kind of what made me think of like the tags and teams, and that's when it started kind of kicking in its ass for the right direction of performing those. I don't know. That's what I thought.
Those are my thoughts.
To add my 2 cents.
You added your opinions there, Steve.
Twice.
How about you add some tags?
Okay.
Where can the people find us?
Oh, me? Is it me?
Where can the people find Steve? Oh man, you can find Steve. Steve will professionally annoy you on Twitter.
Selling fruit at the corner.
Commonly as you like and reply to his tweets.
Oh my god, yeah, my tweets have been blowing up as of lately.
Steve's a numbers person.
If anything's very suggestive, that's James for sure, since we all have access.
Yeah, we'll blame it all on James.
Yeah, we blame you, James. So basically, our handles, you can definitely find us at Hotline Hangout Podcast on Instagram.com. Should you want to actually hit us up or follow us or, see what the hell are you doing?
Oh my goodness.
Or you can definitely hit us up on Twitter at Hotline Hangout. Feel free to always leave us a line at hotlinehangout@gmail.com. Always let us know any type of demands, information. Should you want to see or request anything?
And we are available on almost every platform that streams podcasts. And you should give us a rating on iTunes. or like our video on YouTube, or
Do all of it.
tell all your friends about the podcast so we can spread the word and, grow a little bit. I don't know, the more time and effort and energy that we put into this, the better the episodes will be.
Definitely.
And we can do that with your support. So thank you. Oh, that was nasty. All of the listeners are wondering what that noise was. It was Steve kissing his hand.
Stevie blowing kisses to the camera.
Yeah, it's
You
more
can
of him
always-
just kissing his hand.
You can always see that on youtube.com, Hotline Hangout.
Yeah, just like that. Anyways, it's been really nice talking to you boys. It's been a pleasure.
Namaste.
Bye, Shane's grandma.
Oh man. Oh no, we talked about my grandma in this episode.
Till next time.
Thank you for listening to Hotline Hangout, and we'll see you every Tuesday.